everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Essence in You. And we are honored to have a special guest today, the Honorable Goddess, Sanaa Green. Hey, Sanaa.
Hey, guys, Sheila. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for coming. I so enjoy you, and I love everything that you do. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I sure will. So, my name is Sanaa, and I help women to connect to their brightest self through sacred, sensual, earth touched, multidimensional practices.
Oh,
Yes, what that means is I create a space for women and a few brave men to um, embody the divine, primarily the divine feminine, and to connect to past lives and life in other dimensions through quantum healing hypnosis technique.
oh, wow.
I'm also
So
a
how did
Reiki master. So I'm a Reiki master. I teach belly dance, and I've studied feng shui. I've done master's work in transpersonal psychology and eco psychology. I'm an environmental educator, a community activist, and those are some of the things I've done. Mhm.
Wow, you have a very active life. That I can tell just like you're all around well-rounded. But you said you're a Reiki healer and also a quantum coach?
Quantum
Progressive.
quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. I'm a quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. I'm a level 2 practitioner, which means that I've studied the Dolores Cannon method for past life
Okay.
regression.
All right.
And it's called quantum healing hypnosis because the person might go to a past life and they might actually stay in their current life, go to the past, go to another dimension, go to the spirit realm. And in all of those areas, a person is able to gain healing. And the way that the process is quantum is that even from where we sit right now, we can go back to a time that was traumatic and reframe the
Mm-hmm.
ideas and the notions and the ways that we experience a traumatic situation. And even though you're reframing what happened in the past, it can impact your life now. And so it really can totally transmute and transform the way we see ourselves, the way we think about love, the way our body functions. And so that makes it quantum because we're healing throughout time and space
Oh,
through
wow.
this method of hypnosis.
I got you. How did you get into that? I mean, what made you uh even how did you get introduced to it and then how did you get into it? Yeah.
Yes. So when my father passed away in 1997, I could still feel him around. I was in the room when he passed, in the hospital room when he passed. And it was so interesting because my mother called. I had spent the night in the hospital with my aunt. My mother called. My mother and father were divorced. And my
Mm-hmm.
mother called. And so I got up to answer the phone. I was sleeping on the bed next to my father in the hospital room. And she called to see how everything was going. I said, "Well, he's still here," because I could still hear his labored breathing. I don't know if you've heard the death rattle when
Mm-hmm.
someone is about to pass away. Their breathing becomes it's like a rattle because it's labored. And so he was still there. So then I hung the phone up, got back in the bed, and then I stopped hearing the death rattle. And I sat up in the bed. I was like, "Daddy?" And my aunt said, "He's gone, baby. He's gone."
Mm.
He looked up, waved, and he's out of here. I was like, "Oh." And so, but then I could still feel him around. And even I should go back, I guess, a little bit before he passed away, because when I took him to the hospital, when I knew he was in hospice, and so I took him to the hospital because he was having a crisis. And for some reason, I just felt that I should bathe him. So I bathed him. I sang to him and sat with him. And had some I had an idea that this was a type of a ritual, but I had never
Mhm.
seen it done. I mean, I had never done it before and I had never seen it done.
Mhm.
So so I did that, and then when he passed away, I could still feel his spirit around, and I became so interested in what that was and how could he still be around, and so I started studying metaphysics. But actually before that, I was very interested in other dimensions. I loved Star Trek,
Mhm.
Twilight Zone, and all the shows that deal with a whole nother world or a whole nother dimension. And so I had my first past life regression in 1998. My father passed in 97. So I had my first regression in 1998. Take my glasses off.
Mhm. And in that regression, did you, I mean, did you, were you surprised by the results of of what transpired out of that progression?
Yeah. So that in that regression, I woke up startled. So I
Uh-huh.
didn't get the benefit of actually resolving the situation. In that
Mhm.
life, I was a priest, and I had gone to a into someone's home to try to do like a healing and an exorcism, sort of,
Mhm.
and um, it didn't go well.
Mhm.
So I woke up startled, and I didn't get the benefit in quantum healing hypnosis. What the practitioner does is help you to kind of reconcile what just happened in the life.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I didn't get the chance to do that. But then I started reading more books. I read books about past life regressions and, and just expanded my knowledge of metaphysics. At that time, I was studying Black Hat sect, Tantric Buddhist feng shui.
Mhm.
And the Buddhists are very much, and the Buddhists and the Tibetans are very much connected to ancestors.
Mhm.
So so I was learning in that way, and then I just over the years started to learn more and more. And then I got the notion in 2022 that I should learn how to do past life regressions, but I just kind of pooed it away. Yeah, until a year later. I mean, maybe it wasn't time. What I've learned is that sometimes it's just not time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned that too. Like it just comes when it's supposed to come. It may not come when you want it to come, but it comes when it's supposed to come, and 99.9% you're ready for it at that particular point in your life.
Hmm.
Oh man. Ah, that is something in your Reiki. How did you come across that, and how do you like that?
So I was attuned to Reiki in 2001. I went to Sedona, Arizona
Mm,
for the attunement, and I was terrified. I was so scared. I was like, "Oh my goodness, what is this like? This whole like, what is it going to be?" I was just
yeah.
terrified that I would be delving into this dangerous world of spirits and stuff that they said you're not supposed to deal with in church.
Yeah.
So it was so nice because the lady who taught the class, who has since passed away, she passed away shortly after the pandemic was over. Her name was Laurel Gaia Shanti, and she and her husband were so nice because they let me stay at their house. I was just so
Hmm.
terrified about the whole thing, and but then once I was attuned to Reiki and I started doing treatments, and I felt how loving the energy is, because before the energy flows into the person that you're working on, this healing energy that comes from God, from the source, flows through you. And so
Hmm.
it flows through and is so loving, and it's a wonderful, uplifting experience. Now you can have, I mean, there's so many things that come up in the spirit world, so you do have to learn how to understand what's happening and be able to manage it. But I love Reiki, and I've been doing Reiki on myself for years, and
Hmm.
then after I learned to do quantum healing hypnosis, people kept asking me if I taught Reiki. And during the QHHT session, they would say,
Uh-huh.
"Do you teach Reiki?" And I said, "No, I don't." And then all of a sudden, I had the feeling, well, why don't you just learn? I had
Right.
because I'd had some uncomfortable experiences with spirits when I first attuned to Reiki, and I went through a really a dark night of the soul right after I was attuned to Reiki because I was grieving, and and then there were so many, and I was clearing and processing a lot of discordant emotions at that time. And I can talk more about that. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so I just decided to learn. I didn't, I had some fears, but somehow once I started doing the quantum healing hypnosis, the fears that I felt before, I didn't have anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became attuned to teach Reiki last year after 20 years, 25, 24 years.
Wow.
Hmm.
So you had to do when you learned how to do Reiki, you also cleansed yourself. You did your own shadow work. Is that what happened? Is that what you're saying? When you
Um, yes, that is partially true.
Mhm.
What was actually happening is I was attuned at a time when um, the crystal children and the indigo, well, the indigo children and the souls that were born for the purposes of creating a new energetic grid on the earth so that we could establish a more loving, peaceful type of existence. When those children were born, they were having trouble holding in the grid
Mhm.
because the darker energy forces were working to maintain the darkness on the earth.
Mhm. Mhm.
So um, I realized later that I was guided to attune to Reiki to help them hold the grid. And so being attuned to Reiki in 2001 is a lot different than being attuned in 2025 because in 2001 the Reiki energy was still not um, it was still fairly new, even though there were people who
Mhm.
were doing it.
Mhm.
There weren't a lot of people who were doing it, and I was still attuned to a an energetic vibration that was dealing with sadness and lack and so the energy of Reiki, which was more about which was more loving, did cause a sense of discord
Mhm.
and um and the energy and there were and so and the energy and there was a tug of war between the light and the darkness and and then I also lived at that time I lived near a cemetery
Mhm.
and I was clearing because I had attuned to Reiki. Then my energy field became much more bright, and so spirits were attracted to my energy field, and so I ended up, they wanted because they all spirits want to move toward the light, and well,
Mhm.
not all of them, but the most of them do. They see the light and they want to move toward it. This is
Right.
part of what they're taught in feng shui, and um, and so there were a couple of different things happening, and then too I was grieving the death of my father still,
Mhm.
and I had shifted. I wasn't working in the same way, and so it was a dark night, but luckily I have my spirit guides came around. They supported me. They guided me to people who could help. I did some therapy,
Mhm.
and got a new job, and eventually I was able to ground the Reiki energy and then move away from the place where I was staying. I was at that place for about 5 years, but um, it was really interesting because there was a woman who moved in to the
Mhm.
apartment building where I lived who said that she was consciously making a choice between whether or not she should stay with the light or use her magic for the darkness. And she was, going backward and forward. And so I would, I had gotten into the position of every night I would encase the building in white light, and so it really shifted the whole energy of the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
And people actually would say that they could feel it, and it felt really peaceful. Another woman
Mm-hmm.
from Brazil who moved in said, "Yeah, this place feels really peaceful. I like it here." So that was a whole long, long story, but um, yeah, a lot happens, and it's all about learning and being able to understand the spirit world and have some type of facility with how to navigate through the spirit
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. I gotcha. I gotcha.
Mhm.
So I know that you have a beautiful oracle deck. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. So I got a few pictures. I don't know if you all can see it here. Let's see.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty.
yeah. So this one here is the Dogon, and the Dogon is a tribe, and they now are known for being a part of Mali. But the
Mm-hmm.
Dogon are African tribe that African people that lived in parts of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the cards. So the deck is actually it helps it it really deals with a lot of the interpersonal um, um, subconscious
Mm-hmm.
ideas and thoughts that we're processing when we are just human, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
emotions, like being a healer, being a priestess. So the deck is really for people who are awakening and honoring their spiritual lineage and trying to understand all the different concepts, all the different parts of the spiritual lineage. Yeah, so it's called African Starseed, and it's based in what I have come to know are parts of myself and my spiritual journey. And it ties into other dimensions, life on other planets, being a priestess, the divine masculine, the woundedness, a lot of the wounds that we've come here to process and that are really essential to our lives and essential to our experience on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's a great, every time I use it, it's so accurate because people say, "Oh no," they don't even think that the whole notion, the whole idea would come up of what it is that they're thinking about, but it's very accurate, so very helpful for shadow work, for learning yourself, and for really being your priestess or priest self.
Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the idea? I mean, where did that um idea come from within you to go into that beautiful deck that you have?
From my spirit guides during the pandemic, I was getting a lot of downloads, and I was having a lot of mystical, multi-dimensional experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a brother who passed away in the 80s, and he is a spirit guide to me now. He came and because when the pandemic started, I was thinking, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do here? Here I am, alone in the house, and we have to stay
Mm-hmm.
in. And what am I going to do? What's going to happen to us?" So at that time, because it was so quiet too, I really felt my ancestors around. My father, my mother, who was also in the ancestral realm, and my brother. I really felt them around, particularly my brother, who comes to me periodically when I really need him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he showed me another dimension. I know that, how does this sound odd to you, Sheila? I'm like,
No, actually, it really
okay,
doesn't.
okay, okay. So he showed me another dimension that I could go to when I needed support.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is a dimension that he had shown me years ago when I was going through this dark night of the soul that I mentioned. He came and he showed me another dimension, and I realized that I can go to that dimension anytime I need to, and then
Mm-hmm.
I can request whatever I need. Like if I need healing, there were times when I was really upset, and I went, in my mind's eye to this other dimension
Mm-hmm.
and requested healing, and so I was healed by by beings, and I went to a place that was sort of like an Avatar. The movie The Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, so my spirit guides came, and I had these images, and I wanted to be able to share some of the images that I was experiencing when I was learning about my spiritual awareness, and so my spirit guide said that I should share the information because it could be helpful to others as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that no, it doesn't sound that I've heard it before is because when you meditate, you really go into you a different state of mind, a different dimension. Some people astral project. So no, that's nothing new. Um, and I mean, I believe that even when you go into Akashic records, that you're in a different dimension or a different level of being. So no, girl, you good. We're good.
Okay, okay, so I'm good with you, Sheila. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Stop. You're good. I understand. I get the whole thing. Trust and believe. Trust
Mhm.
and believe. But I have your deck right here. See that, everybody? Got to go get it. Go get it. Let's see. Go get
Yay!
it. And the drawings on here are absolutely phenomenal. Um, how did you come up with the drawings, or
I can't
because
take credit for that.
well, they're whoever you employed to do the drawings did a fabulous job.
Yeah, yeah, I am so pleased. There was a woman, her name is Brandy Keeler, and
Mm-hmm.
she has a business called Expand. I love her
Mm-hmm.
tagline. Her tagline is helping do-gooders do good.
Mm-hmm.
And she used AI, but of course you have to direct the AI, and she had to change,
Yes.
adjust the colors, and she did the layout. So it definitely, and I explained what I wanted to her, but it's so beautiful, and it comes alive, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just she did a wonderful job bringing the ideas that I had to life through the images.
Like this one right here. If the folks at home can see that these colors are just fabulous, they just come at you, and then you can like almost see the stars. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see like the stars and the color and the different hues. It's very gorgeous. And this one here reminds me of Maya Angelou. I don't know why, but it does. It reminds me of Maya
Yes.
Angelou.
Yes.
That one there does. But
Yeah.
again, she just, sitting there and yeah, contemplating and meditating and just going reflecting from within. And it's a beautiful deck. It really is. An absolutely beautiful deck.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Have you had a chance to do any readings for yourself?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like I try to, I get up so early in the morning and then we were rushing around. So yes and no. But I am have some spare time this weekend
Okay.
and I'm gonna go ahead and knock it out and I'll go ahead and I'll let you know how it pops up within me.
Please do. Now, have you used other oracle decks before?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you know how to do your own readings.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw where you were offering how to how to read. It's something you're offering
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
because
read a few days ago.
yeah, because
Yeah.
some people this is new. This is all new.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was the at an event a couple of weeks ago, several people said that they would like to learn how to use the oracle cards. They didn't know. So so that's why I decided I would offer. It's free to people who've already purchased a deck. And
Now,
then
we do have to do a disclaimer. Oracle cards are not bad or voodoo or anything like that, actually. Oracle cards are like angel cards, and all they do is give you project within the oracle cards. So, what you read in the oracle cards is actually coming from you within you. Am I right?
Exactly. Very well put,
Mm-hmm.
Sheila. Yeah. So
Yes.
really, the oracle cards are really just a way for you to have more self reflection
Mm-hmm.
and so when you pull a card, nothing about it is etched
Evil
in
or
stone or
yeah.
or deciding that you will or will not do something in particular. It's just giving you an opportunity to tap into a part of your subconscious, a part of
Subconscious.
what's
Mm-hmm.
happening for you, so that you can reason through whatever might be happening in your life. So,
Yeah.
for an example, um, I had someone, I was doing one card readings at an event, and the card that came up was about um, wounded child,
Mm-hmm.
and the mother who was there was having difficulty with her daughter. It was an older woman, and her daughter's an adult, and she was having difficulty with her daughter, but it helped her to see her daughter differently. So whereas her daughter is and she are not in a positive relationship at the moment, it helped her to see her daughter as being wounded, and maybe shifted her perspective. So that's really all the oracle cards do, is give you some insight into your own perspective, or to give you another
Yep.
perspective, so that you can find peace and healing.
Mm-hmm. And again, you have the option to take it or leave it because everybody has ta-da free will to do whatever you choose is best or right for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, you also make ta-da! I have everything
Okay.
that you have sent me. I have it all. See
Oh, good.
that?
Yeah, you have the divine feminine Lemurian wand.
Mm-hmm. So would you tell us a little about the Lemurian one, please?
Yes. So the this wand actually came through a quantum healing hypnosis session. The higher self of one of my clients told me, in order to learn more about Lemuria, which is an ancient sunken civilization that some believe was started by beings from Arcturus, the star Arcturus,
Mm-hmm.
and Andromedan people, and who merged with people who live on the earth. So it was and it's believed that it was a civilization that was very much connected to the earth, and it preceded Atlantis. Many people have heard of Atlantis. Atlantis and Lemuria at one point were coexisting. Some of the people from Atlantis, actually from Lemuria, went to be a part of the Atlantis project. And so with the wand, you can use it to heighten your meditation. It's a divine feminine wand because instead of it being straight like a phallic symbol, like a pencil,
Mm-hmm.
it's circular, and it's made of copper and crystals. And when you hold the wand, you put the amethysts in the palm of your hand, so that it connects to your, yes, the chakras in your hands, and you close that around, and then you can meditate with it, and you can also beam it to, if you want to, if you, let's say you want to heal a plant, or you want to heal yourself, you can focus it on parts of your body, you can meditate with it, and and the energy flows through the crystals, and and through the copper, and through your body, so that you're actually um, directly connected to the energy of all of the crystals in your body. Yeah, and
Now,
so
with Reiki, you did work with crystals, correct?
some Reiki masters do use crystals. There's They talk about crystal grids, but
Mm-hmm.
Reiki in and of itself is. I mean, right now people do all different things with Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
In and of itself is really all you need is your hands. You don't even need
Mm-hmm.
your hands. You can beam Reiki with your eyes, but Reiki is. does not necessarily need to be with crystals, but sometimes people use crystal grids for Reiki, and I have used the Lemurian wand to do Reiki on myself.
And that,
Yeah.
and that and that was my part of my thought process was with the Reiki healings, since this had so much energy and charge in it to do, healings. That's why I thought that, possibly you could use this as in your Reiki.
You can. You
Yeah.
can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Are you a Reiki master? Are you a Reiki
No, I'm
practitioner?
studying it though.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm coming along.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm coming along.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Ow, this is fabulous. But these are so, this, if you can see this up close to, this is really, really awesomely beautiful also. And she has a video to go along with it so you can see how to use it and all that other good stuff. So how do you know that you're from Lemuria? Is that correct? That you're the star seed? But your star, a lot of people are talking about star seeds. Like, what star seed are you from? Somebody asked me that. I'm like, I have no idea. So, how did you find out what star seed you were from?
So when I started hearing like this whole notion about being from another planet, I was like, "What?"
Hmm.
Because I feel very much connected to the earth.
Hmm.
I'm a earthy. I'm really a earthy kind of woman. I'm very much connected to the earth, and um, and so I just started hearing things in my head. At one point, like in maybe 2011, I was doing some genealogical research, and my cousin, because my cousin had done some genealogical research and found that while she had done research through africanancestry.com,
Hmm.
it came back that the haplogroup, our maternal haplogroup, is not found on the continent of Africa. And she was like, yeah, I think it's like Indian or something like that. And
Hmm. Hmm.
so I did some research about it, and I did a several years later, once they developed more information and had more samples of genealogy. Um, I found where it's actually from, but our maternal lineage is haplogroup B, and it's believed that people with haplogroup B are descended from Lemuria, and so the
Hmm.
people who have haplogroup B are found in um, some of the Native American tribes, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Choctaw have
I'm
a high.
Chickasaw.
Are you really?
I am.
Okay. So they have a
Yeah,
high
I am.
percentage of haplogroup B,
Uh-huh.
and then there's people in Taiwan and other parts of Asia, in New Zealand, and also Madagascar. So what I found is that my maternal lineage is Malagasy from Madagascar,
Hmm.
and the way that people even knew about Lemuria is that they saw these lemurs who seemed to move between the African continent and India, and so they figured that there must have been a land bridge between the two continents at one point. And there's been a lot of study, and a lot of the information about Lemuria is people get, I guess, different bits and pieces. So some of it is contradictory, and I'm still studying. I've read several books, and I'm still learning. Um, but I also learned, my spirit guides just kind of started giving me information, and then I found a website that talks about looking at your astrological chart to see which markers you have for which star systems,
Hmm.
and then I follow that up with asking questions during a quantum healing hypnosis session. So I am, when I guess some people feel that they're star seeds and that they are not from the planet, and so they are thinking that they are, and maybe they are different, maybe they haven't incarnated here before, but I know myself to have incarnated or had lives in other star systems and on other planets. So it's not that I'm firmly rooted as a human on the earth right now in this life, but and I'm also aware that I have lived other lives on other planets or on other star systems. And so I am connected to, I saw a life where I was living in Arcturus. And then I think there was another life I saw. Um, I can't even, I don't know why I can't think of it. And it starts with an O, but I have to look it up. But
Mm-hmm.
you can, so there are ways you can do it. You can meditate about it. You can read about it, and there's a woman. Her name is Debbie Solaris, and she does Akashic record readings. And she
Oh,
also
okay.
has a website where she talks about the different star seed beings, races that are connected. There are some races that have been intricately connected to the earth, especially during the times of Atlantis and Egypt, or what used to be called Kemet. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a
Mm-hmm.
card in the deck called Kemet. And so the Nubians, and who are the people from Kemet, are, there was a time when the beings from other star systems, who are like cousins, so they see themselves not as these uh, superior beings, but like these are, there were, um, I guess, sort of like colonies where beings from other planets came to the Earth and lived here, established places here, interacted with the people who were already here, and became a part of the fabric of the Earth, rather than coming to overtake anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you want to say something?
Mm-mm. I said,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So,
I'm listening.
so, so this, so we all may be from other planets at some point, and if
Oh yeah.
and whether or not you know if that is important for your life, for this life, is it depends on your life plan. For
Mm-hmm.
some people, it's important for them to know. For other people, there are other lives that they've lived that are more crucial to their experience in this life. Did I
Mm.
answer that question? I know I said a lot. I don't know if I answered the question though.
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Okay, okay,
You answered the question.
okay.
You sure did. Let me see on my notes. Tell me, or tell us, what was the most interesting past life progression that you did?
The most interesting past life regression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, there have been several. I mean, and when I am thinking about reestablishing the divine feminine and helping women to live in their priestess selves so that the divine feminine can be reestablished within women and within the earth, it's important for me to be able to understand some of the things that have happened in the
Mm-hmm.
past. So,
Mm-hmm.
I had several regressions. One woman was connected to Lyra. She was Lyran from the planet Lyra.
I heard of Lyra.
Uh
Yeah.
huh. Yeah, and she was a teacher of priestesses, and she worked in the temple of Sekhmet in Egypt. And in that life, after that life was over, she actually could change into a cat. She was a shapeshifter,
Oh.
so she could go from her humanoid form to her cat form. And when she passed away, she learned that it was possible for her not to continue with the karma of the earth if she were to go like beyond this light that people generally see, which they think is the creator, but actually it's a whole nother system that's been set up to keep the karma of the earth going. So she was
Mm-hmm.
able to figure out how to go around that um, that place in the spirit world and go back to her home where her people were in the Pleiades. There was a planet in
Mhm.
the Pleiades. The Lyran world was destroyed. Um, so that was really interesting. And then the regression where the Miriam wand came up was interesting too, because the woman who did the regression also in the regression went into a life as a dolphin.
Mhm.
She was a dolphin, and in this life where they were swimming around, one of her dolphin friends was able to turn into a humanoid figure, get a spear, and kill this shark that was coming toward them. And I was like, well, how did the how did the dolphin use a spear? The dolphins just have fins, and they were
Right.
saying how dolphins are multidimensional and can shift in between dimensions at will.
Mm.
And then what her higher self was saying is that it's we all can shift between dimensions. We shift between dimensions based on our emotions. And when we are allowing ourselves to sink into regret or guilt or shame or fear, then it slips us into another dimension where we beget more of the same.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, that was, and she also lived a life in Egypt too. This person, she had a lot of interesting lives that came up.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So there've been a lot of interesting past life regressions. And another one, a woman actually went to a life of a woman who had been enslaved, and she actually had the dialect, like the way she talked was
Mhm.
completely different than the way she talks in her everyday life. She actually became, she was her whole dialect was that of a woman who from the South who was enslaved.
Really
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know Dolores Cannon, when she was doing hers, I only know bits and pieces, but she was like a pioneer, and she was the one to say, "Hey, she started putting it all together." I guess something like that, correct? As far as like these people been here before, but as somebody different.
Yeah, Dolores Cannon was a pioneer in the sense that well, at that time there were a number of people when she was doing past life regression. It wasn't as popular, but there were people who were exploring with other dimensions, transpersonal, utilizing hallucinogens and other types of drugs to be able to understand more about the life between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, so to speak, or
Mhm.
the higher
Mhm.
conscious and the conscious mind. And so they were trying different methods. Hypnosis
Mhm.
was one of the methods. LSD was one of the methods. Mushrooms was a method, and so there were actually studies at universities where they were looking at the transpersonal experiences and trying to figure out how it works.
Mhm.
And this was the same time that hypnosis was becoming more popular. So she was a pioneer in doing research about um, um, alien abduction. That
Mhm.
was one of
Mhm.
the things that was really really popular. And then she also learned to utilize hypnosis for healing, which makes it that quantum process of healing. And her method kind of combines a couple of methods of other hypnotists that she put together. She put together a method that from other hypnotists, and she wrote a lot of different books. And so
Mhm.
her work reached a lot of people because of the books that she wrote, and she was such a great storyteller.
Mhm.
And I first read one of her books in the early 2000s. I think I read the Three Waves of Volunteers when I was trying to figure out what my purpose is. And this is a great book
Mhm.
if people want to learn more about what their purpose is, and if they feel different. Some people often feel different, and when they have a spiritual awakening, they often feel like out of place in their family.
Mhm.
And so the Three Waves of Volunteers was one of the books that I read because I was feeling odd and different as I was going through the spiritual awakening. And the things that I had thought were normal and true and a part of the normal everyday life, I learned weren't. So that in between time when you're trying to, when you're just coming into the awareness and you're trying to reconcile what is actually happening with your daily life in your normal thought processes, it can feel like you're going a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you, to be able to have books that you can read, or now there are videos, and now um, Dolores Cannon has a YouTube channel, several YouTube
YouTube. I see
channels.
she's on YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like constantly streaming her interviews and talks,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and and there are others who have done hypnosis, but I really liked the way she framed the information. I liked the way she was able to help me understand my purpose and my role, and so when I attuned to Reiki and I put that together with the three waves of volunteers, I realized that my the purpose for tuning to Reiki wasn't necessarily to give Reiki treatments every day, but to shift my frequency so that I could help to hold this new grid for humankind.
Mm. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Well, Miss Sanaa, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my website at sanaagreen.com, SANAAGREEN.com. You can also find me on YouTube at The Past Lives of Black Folk.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then and I also have a Instagram page, Past Life of Black Folks, and I'm on Facebook, and I have a couple of Instagram channels. So I'm still trying to figure out where to go. So I'm also on TikTok. I just got on TikTok. So the Past Lives of Black Folk or Sanaa Green, you should be able to connect with me. So I do have a couple of classes coming up. The class, thank you so much for mentioning, Sheila, about the Oracle
Mm-hmm.
cards. I have a Reiki
Mm-hmm.
class coming up, which is in person, and I'll be doing an online Reiki class that'll be in May
Now, where are you since you said in person? Where are you located?
in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and then we'll be doing an online class um, in Detroit. So I have a couple of things I'm working on. So just go and subscribe to my email list so you can hear about all the good things that are coming up.
All right. That sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Goddess Sanaa, Sanaa Green. I have to say that I met Sanaa at a retreat that was hosted by Abiola Abrams, and she was the gracious host along with Miss Abram. We had a good time too, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah, Abiola is such a great person, and
Abiola. I
her
don't know
and
why.
her
So what I say?
retreats and her retreats are, and their retreat, and all the women were just so fabulous. And being
Mm-hmm.
in the North Carolina mountains, we were in a snowstorm, but you
Snowstorm.
made
Yep.
it anyway. You drove up and you made it
Yep.
anyway.
Yep. I think I say everybody was meant to be there because that weather
Yes,
was the worst.
the
But
worst.
everybody made it. That means we were all meant to be there.
Yes.
And we are still, all of us are still in contact now in some way, shape, or form. Hence, that's where this YouTube channel podcast had came about because I've been thinking about it. But after that, I was like, there's nothing to it but to do it. Feel the feel and do it anyway.
Yes. And so how's the belly dancing coming?
Oh, it's coming for me.
Hmm.
It's coming for me because
I
I'm
mean, but
just
that's what I
doing.
mean. For who for it? Who else for
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
If
because
not for you.
people have been asking me to teach, and I don't have my schedule's not cohesive to that. So I do it here at the house to keep myself in practice. Do the
Yes,
shimmy
yes,
things.
yes. You're such a lovely dancer.
Well, thank you. So are you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed Miss Goddess Sanaa Green. Hey, get in contact with her. This is beautiful. Get some of her cards right here, everybody. Um, hey, talk to her. Talk to her. Nothing to do it but to do it. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.